I've often said that it feels like we're in a 1776 moment right now in the United States of America. The political boundaries between the two political parties aren't exactly what they used to be, and they're changing in gradual ways. But sometimes I worry it's less of a 1776 moment and more of an 1860 moment in this country. There's now two kinds of coffee, two places where you get your pillows, two places where you get your news, depending on what kind of American you are. I worry that there'll pretty soon be two kinds of America, depending on what kind of American you are. And that worries me. One of the things that's gotten us there, I believe, is the politicization of what were previously supposed to be non-political or apolitical institutions. Alexis de Tocqueville, he traveled this country a little over a century and a half ago, and he made the observation that a country this vast, this expansive geographically, this ethnically and religiously diverse, isn't supposed to stand, actually. It isn't supposed to last unless there are certain apolitical institutions outside of the realm of partisan politics that hold us together. The sports stadiums of this country, the labs, the manufacturing facilities in this country, where you don't know whether the person next to you is a Democrat or Republican, nor does it matter because you're united in common purpose. And that provides a common sense of shared identity and purpose that allows us to disagree like hell in the political sphere while still knowing that we're one nation left at the end of it. Yet today we live in a different America, one where that toxicity, and I wouldn't even call it toxicity, it might even be a healthy thing, of vigorous debate and partisan politics spills over into spheres like our workplaces, like the sports that we play, certainly the media ecosystems in which we operate as well. And I think that is the quiet danger to the future existence of the country. We are skating on thin ice. We're in the middle of a kind of Cold War in this country, a cold cultural civil war, not of the kind that we had in 1860, and I hope we don't get there. But part of the way we're going to be sure not to get there is if we revive those apolitical spaces outside of the realm of American politics. And that's what we're missing today. The reality is, I don't think that the political spectrum necessarily is two poles at one end of the left and one end of the right. And I don't think national unity comes from showing up in the 50-yard line and saying, hey, let's all hold hands and sing Kumbaya. That only gets the people who are in the 30-yard line on either side of the 50 anyway. I think the way we're going to unite this country, if at all we're even going to, I think that's an open question today, but I hope we and expect that we can and will. If we're going to unite this country, I think it's going to be by rediscovering those common threads that unite all Americans despite the more superficial differences in identity or partisan affiliation. Do those ideals still exist? And what's it going to take to awaken a culture that celebrates them again? I don't mean to sound like a kumbaya fantasy, talking about national unity wonderland sort of positivity here. That's not the goal. The goal is actually to confront the hard truth that we're far from there today, but it may take more open conversations between people who vehemently disagree on certain things, but still are grounded in shared principles like free expression and free speech that in some ways we've forgotten in the face of that division.